What's happening, guys? Chris from NCG here, and today, first of all, apologies for the lack of content from the NCG Pokemon department. We've just been all really busy, but me and Kieran should be back. Well, I'll be back consistently from now on. Kieran will be back soon, and we are also hiring new Pokemon YouTubers. So if you yourself are watching this is interested, please message the page in the description down below. But for today's video, we're going to be profiling Alolan Ninetales GX. I'll discuss why I think the deck is one of the best decks of the current format and why it's a top pick for London. So we'll run through the deck list, run through the choices, run through the different things you can do with the deck, and then we'll move on to a quick sort of matchup. How do you address the matchups at the end of the video. So let's start, shall we? Apologies, my camera stand is broke. I haven't used it in about a month or so, so I just realised it's broke, so I'm doing it with one hand. Sweet. So to start off, we're playing 3 Alolan Ninetales GX and 1 Baby Ninetales. This is the perfect ratio for a standardised meta, we'll say. Obviously, you're playing in a local meta where Alolan Ninetales shines a lot more than these 3, then change your ratios about. Maybe play 5 with 2 Alolan, but I think this is the perfect ratio because you do have Rescue Stretcher to bring us back. But this is pings damage all over the board. This is your main attacker. The max damage output in the deck is 210, so the Ice Blade is really important to put 50 on the board. And then you can maybe like Guzma it out and do the whatever damage you need. Knock out the Gardevoirs especially. So you play 4 of them. Like I said, you can mess about the ratios you want, but that's kind of standardised. Then the ideal starter of the deck is 3 Alolan Vulpix. Usually how you start the game is with Beacon, obviously. But we start with like Zora, you can attach Water Energy to Zora, switch into Vulpix, then use Beacon if you're going second. Or I just put an energy onto Vulpix, and then if you have to retreat it, or it gets attacked and knocked out, that's fine, because you got the water in the discard for the Aqua Patch, so it's not really a waste of water energy. And the Vulpixes are all expendable, even though you do need the Ninetales to go up. Do you have Rescue Stretcher, but 1 or 2 Ninetales is perfectly expendable for the first start of the game. This is how you try and start off your games with the Vulpix. Only 1 retreat is very relevant because it means you can retreat into maybe a setup Zoroark, which we'll move on to here. Then a 2-2 line. I don't want to play Baby Zoroark because I just don't think it delivers enough. It is a 1 prize attacker, which is kind of sweet. The Russian, or whatever it's named, the Russian ability, not as relevant from testing, but I think 2-2 is fantastic. This card really shines because there's some matchups where the devolve strategy isn't relevant, so this actually gets use out of it. It effectively just reads draw 2 cards. Discarding 1 energies for Aqua Patch. There's very few cards in this deck I wouldn't discard. The only ones being are N and Double Colorless. Like everything else, I'm happy enough to discard. Even in like late game when you go on Beacon to search 2 anything to then use Zoroark to trade 2. The reason why this card shines instead of Octillery is because it actually is a relevant attacker. You don't want to burn your Blizzard Edge on every single Pokemon. You want to soften them up with the Righteous Edge, which usually does max damage thanks to the Vulpix searching, and you obviously probably bridge it and nice stuff like that. So you can soften this up, or you can take out like Garbodors or stuff that you really just do not want to use Blizzard Edge on, because it is a waste of 2 energy. Conserve your Blizzard Edges, which is really relevant. So that's why Zoroark is playing the deck. Nothing really else. The retreat's kind of meh, but the ability, the resistance, everything is so relevant. Just the fighting weakness, just play around it. Just don't play Zoroark into the matchups that you know it's definitely going to get knocked out on, or it's not going to be worth. Moving on to the next Pokemon is Tapu Koko. Again, fighting weak, I just noticed, but sure, it's a 1 price attacker, it's not bad. The Flying Flip, as I say, your max damage output is 210, so 1 Flying Flip onto the guard, that's them nice and softened up to take a knockout with the Blizzard Edges. But this is free retreat, so starting with this is perfect, because even if you're not sure about what you're wanting to do with your hand or whatever, you start with this, retreat in. Or when you've just suffered a knockout, playing this out right away, see what you draw off Sycamore or N or for turn. It's just really good card. the Flying Flip is just really good all around. I've used it mid game as well to soften up pokes. Wouldn't play 3. I don't really want to see multiples of this card, to be honest. I want to start with it, and that's really it. I don't want to start drawing it late game. Mid game's okay, and of course you can get rid of it with trade. And then consistency, we're playing 3 Tapu Lele. To be honest, I play 3 Tapu Lele in everything. I just think consistency is far too good. Garbage Toxin is not a good enough reason not to play this card at 3. 2 or 4 is far too much. The bench space is not really relevant in this deck. You need like 1 or 2 Zoroark, then 1 or 2 Ninetales, and then the rest is like free. So Lele is, yeah, I'm not really going to say more about Lele. 3 Lele, it can attack in the deck, as always, but it very rarely comes up. Because you do have a lot of spread in the deck, and even if you don't, I'm struggling Greninja really helps with that deck, because it just nullifies your opponent's rare candies, just puts them on a lot of pressure. Like, it can save turns while you get the setup, but this deck does set up very fast and very consistently. So this is usually for the taking the spread knockouts. You only drop this when you need it. You don't really reveal it to your opponents right away, because you want them to commit to the rare candies or commit to big Gardevoirs you can spread and kill. So SP on the X is very good, and that's it for the pokes. Like I said, you can play more Ninetales if you want. Tapu Fini is one I have been considered, but I took it out in testing because Ho-Oh Salazzle is not really that relevant anymore, and that was the main card it was for, because just nullifying a Kawi Ho-Oh turn 1. But it is useful against Gardevoir as well, but I just don't think this deck suffers against Gardevoir enough to play Tapu Fini, which is why it was cut. If you disagree, you can definitely find a spot for it. So we'll start off with continue on with the supporters. We're playing 4N and 3 Sycamore. Oh, there's Sycamore. Yeah, 4N, one's stuck. 4N, 3 Sycamore. I played 3 Sycamore because I am also playing 3 Professor Kukui. But even still, most lists play like 4 Sycamore, 2 Lele. I think that's wrong completely. You should definitely play 3 Lele and 3 Sycamore, because you never actually really want to open this card outside of either your hand being incredibly poor or your hand being that good where you can get rid of most of the cards in your hand and draw 7. But the former happens far more than the latter, so you do not want to open this card. You want to open Bridget or N or Kukui. So this is for the late game when you're digging for resources, which is why I'm playing 3 Lady, 3 Sycamore, 4 in a staple. This has put locks in, being able to just stick them in bad spots and then end them down. It's fantastic. And draw support. Kukui allows you to reach your max damage output of 210 and draws you 2 cards. This card is pivotal on the deck. If space wasn't too tight, I'd put it up to 4 because it's just that good. It is just searchable damage, and drawing 2 cards is really relevant. Probably one of the best cards in the deck, to be honest. Like, if you start with Choice Bank, Coco, and Kukui, then you're hitting the active for 70, and then spreading the 20 everywhere, which is just so good. And then, like I said, the max damage output. Then we're playing 1, 2, 3, and 4 Guzma. You can maybe take one out if you really want, but I think this is really strong because you're a spread deck. Being able to manipulate what comes out when it's being damaged or anything like that. This card just steals games. I don't think there's any more to say about that. I think you should play 4 Guzma in most decks, but this deck most of all. And lastly, 1 Bridget. You don't want to play 2. I've actually stopped playing 2 in most decks because regardless of how important it is, it's not that important to this deck because opening Vulpix is fine on its own. But even with that, I wouldn't play 2 in most decks because I just don't think it is worth the spot just to have the safety net when it is mathematically not that likely. So moving on to the items, 4 Ultra Ball, nothing to say about that. 4 Aqua Patch, it is just the heart and soul of the deck. It just allows you to put, this in DC allows you to use Blizzard Edges, like chain Blizzard Edges, which you really shouldn't be allowed to do. But this card, another item for Garb, I guess, would be the only downside to it. 2 Field Blower, this was 3. The third Field Blower was my 61st card because of like Paradise City kind of sucks. The Fighting Fury builds and the Buzzwole matchup really suck. Just stuff like that. This was my 41st card. Then the last item, sorry, is Rescue Stretcher. I play this over Super Raw because adding back the Baby Alola Ninetales or whatever else is just far more important. And the only item tool we're playing is Choice Bands because there's no other card in the deck bar maybe Espeon that I would have put any other tool onto. Want to put Choice Bands on the Ninetales, want to put Choice Bands onto Zoroark, want to put Choice Bands onto Coco. There's nothing in the deck bar Espeon I really want to put Flowstone onto, and Espeon only has 1 retreat cost which matches its 1 energy cost for Miraculous Shine, so that's a perfectly fine trade. So for Choice Band, just consistently get to your max damage output of 210 turn 2. It's just really good. So for Choice Band. And then energy playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 water energy and 4 DCE. I don't think you can change anything about that. So let's run on to the matchups, shall we? It's going to be really hard with one hand. So Gardevoir, you want to try and start off with the Tapu Koko to soften up the routes, not only for the devolve but the max damage output 210. So after you've resolved at least 1 Koko, this against Gardevoir, because they're trying to set up, this can actually resolve 2 or 3 times if you open it. If you need to search it with Bridget or whatever, then put an energy on to like the Vulpix or retreat into this, then you have to wait for the DCE. It can only resolve like 1 or 2 times if you don't open it with it. But if you do open with it and you do open the DCE, this resolves many times, which allows you to not, or takes the pressure off you opening Choice Band or Professor Kukui every time. So 1 Koko resolving means you have to open the Kukui, Choice Band and Ninetales live. 2 Kokos, you can miss the Kukui, 3 Koko, etc, etc. So that is the game plan against it. You can be pretty aggressive with your Blizzard Edges if you really want. It's not really that relevant. You can be very aggressive with it because you are just taking knockouts time and time again. It just depends how many Koko resolves or how many Kukuis you get. But if you play the deck out, you realise that this happens like near enough every single turn 2. You at least get the Ice Edge started with, you've got like Aqua Patches, DCAs. So the Ice Blade, if you have done a Koko and say like you get an Ice Blade that takes a knockout on a route, or 2 Kokos and an Ice Blade takes out a Curdia. So it is just really good. You do get this setup. So that's how you address the Gardevoir matchup, especially if they try to play aggressive back, which they kind of have to do with this deck. You've got Espeon EX for the Rare Candy. So next matchup would be Garbodor, Drampa, or Garbodor, Buzzwole, whichever. It is an auto win. It really is. It's such an easy matchup because the ability lock does very little to you. It turns off Zoroark and BB Ninetales, which is not relevant because BB Ninetales you won't play in that matchup anyway, unless they are literally out of Garbodors. But you hit their HP every single time. Drampa, you hit 190 every single time. Zoroark knocks out Garbodor, so you don't need to waste Blizzard Edges every time. That matchup is definitely around 70-30 from my testing. Even a really good Drampa Garbodor player will struggle against a bad Ninetales player, I believe. Not really sure that matchup. Like, this just puts so much pressure on them, it's ridiculous. Even like Potown puts Ninetales down to 180, which does get revenge kills by a Drampa, but you can just come in and kill them back. The prize exchange is definitely in your favour, I believe, even if you do have to knock out X amount of Garbodors. So the Buzzwole variant is really easy. I played it on Saturday. I confirmed the theory on it. It is just really easy. As long as you can get rid of the Fighting Fury belt, you can take knockouts. Volcanion, it's self-explanatory. It's pretty easy. As long as they don't open extremely well and overpower you, you can take knockouts pretty easy. Metagross is kind of difficult if you can deal with the Mitangs with like Ice Edges and Coco resolving, and of course you got the Devolve, so it is winnable, but it is difficult. This whole Celesteela, Silvally, that does look really, really hard. Never played it before. You just kind of have to be as aggressive as you possibly can be. I can't really think of any other matchups, to be honest. There's no really matchups I play every single time. Yeah, the main matchups I can think of. If there are any matchups you can think of, please let me know in the comments. I'll put them down below. So yeah, that's the deck list. I apologise for the poor quality with no stand or anything like that, but that's the deck list. Hopefully more content will be coming out. Please comment, rate, subscribe, check out our Facebook. But for now, it's Chris from YugiohCardMarket signing out.